Hi, everyone, and welcome to a supplemental episode of the Star Wars Library today. I wanted to do something a little bit different throughout our coverage, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to talk about some of the guides that you can get for the Star Wars EU. Now, let me just start off by saying that I think that the guides kind of range. There are some that are really good, there are some that are just kind of meh, and then there's some that I don't necessarily think that they're bad, but I don't think that they really would suit a lot of fans. I don't know if they're really needed anymore or how much benefit they could provide. Granted, it all depends, if you want it or not. Ultimately, it's going to come down to people's opinions and 2 cents. I decided to go through some of the guides that I have. This isn't all of them, but ones that I think are worth talking about, and then some that I think you should definitely pick up if you haven't done so already. So let's go ahead and kind of start with some of these here. The ones that I guess I would start with, I think are really nice. I've enjoyed looking through them. It's kind of, oh, it's torn. But is the Ultimate Visual Guide. This one is the first edition, and then this is an updated version here. This is really nice. It goes through the movies. It goes through a lot of the EU, before, between, and after. It's all in chronological order. And then there's behind the scenes stuff that talks about the making of the movies. There's a section all about Star Wars novels, Star Wars books, TV shows, video games. It's a really fascinating book. I've always loved this growing up, and so these just have value to me. This one, as you can see, it is definitely torn. This is the original. This one has an introduction by Ian McDiarmid. This one has a foreword by Ashley Eckstein, who is Ahsoka. So a little bit different. It's the same author. I believe it's Ryder Wynnum. Yes, Ryder Wynnum, who is an amazing Star Wars author. He's written a lot of good Star Wars stuff. He's done, again, love these guides. Love Ryder Wynnum. Good stuff. This might be a good introduction one, maybe. Then there's some other ones here too. These I have a lot of sentimental with, as you can see, because my dad's had to tape it. These are the visual dictionaries. These are nice. They mostly deal with the movies. Like this one is the original trilogy, and then you've got the prequel ones here: Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith. They're nice. Like I said, they mostly deal with the films. So there's some cool lore in here. I remember as a kid, learning, for like, this is the one I learned where Darth Vader received, injuries from Obi-Wan in a lightsaber duel, and hence the suit. So there's some extra lore in here. Like the Revenge of the Sith one mentions Anakin's duel with Asajj Ventress. So there's stuff in here, but it's mainly with the movies. So if that's what you're interested in too, it's kind of cool. This one apparently is really bad. I had no idea that this actually was now like this sought after, really expensive item. I couldn't believe it. I was told that this goes for insane prices, and I'm like, I got it for Christmas for free. But it was when it first came out. But the Old Republic Encyclopedia is great. This has so much stuff about the MMO. It's vast. It's huge. It's got so much data about so much stuff, and it is a blast to read. I love the Old Republic era, so this is always fun to go through. Definitely would recommend if you can get this for a good price. Do not break the bank on this. But if you can get it for a decent price, I'd say definitely go and do that. It's incredible to go into the lore. It's new material in here, all about the characters, the weapons, the vehicles, history. It is an incredible guide. So if you can get it, please do. But I don't know if it's worth spending all the money on, but it is really good nonetheless. So let's do some other ones here. Essential Guide to Warfare by Jason Fry I think it's a must. This goes into so many different things. It talks about different conflicts, obviously. It does this great story with the Marvel Star Wars series and kind of tying it all into continuity a lot better. And Jason Fry is just an amazing author, and so it's great. You get a lot of great art, a lot of visual things of different ships, some things that we only saw in novels, so things that I'm picturing in my head. It's like, oh, okay, here's what it's, I guess, supposed to look like. So they do a lot of stuff, like I said, with Legacy, New Jedi Order, Old Republic, stuff from the films. an incredible book. There are some new things in here that I didn't even realize existed. Or new connections, I guess I should say. I didn't even realize that they existed. So I can't say enough about this. You can still pick this up pretty much at any bookstore. Definitely do so. It is great. Here are some ones that maybe, you know, it all depends, I guess, on if you want them or not. You know, the essential or the new essential guides. For example, we did the essential warfare. There's some other ones too, but for example, like ones you might not want is like the essential chronologies. These are cool. It has some good art in it, and it's, you know, great lore. It's putting everything, you know, in chronological order. But the problem is it's dated. This is actually the reprint of this, and this one includes the prequel movies and New Jedi Order. So that's where it stops. It goes pretty much from, I think, like, I don't even know if Darth Bane is mentioned in here. Well, it talks about the Old Republic games and the Tales of the Jedi. So it goes there. So it pretty much starts there. And then, like, there's some good art here with, like, Siri and Obi-Wan and Adigalia and whatnot. And then it gets into the, you know, Luke's order and whatnot. And there's some good art in here. It all lays it out. The problem is, too, like I said, it's dated. It stops at New Jedi Order, and, you know, that's pretty much up until what we got. So it's cool. You know, I got this for very, very cheap, but I don't think it's worth investing. Another one I would say, too, is the New Essential Guide to Characters. This is another one that I'd say you don't really need. If you're going to look up a character, you'd probably go on Wikipedia to look that character up. This one, again, similar to that one, it doesn't even include Revenge of the Sith. This is the first two prequels and New Jedi Order. That's what it's up to. So it's not even all in New Jedi Order. I think it's like star by star is as far as it goes up to. So it's kind of cool. But again, in this day and age, with so much info and how dated it is, they haven't really made another one. So again, I would just go on Wikipedia if you want to look up a specific character. I just don't think that that's worth your time. But some ones I do think are good. Planets and Moons are pretty good. Essential Guide to Droids I like. Vehicles and Vessels is also really good. So those are nice. They're fun to look through. They might also be good if you're writing, you know, fiction, or, you know, for me, some of these have come in handy doing some articles for the expanduniverse.com. So, I mean, they're nice, and they have some good info in them. But again, this is definitely better than the characters. I think you can get a lot more out of these than going on Wikipedia. But, yeah, I would definitely, if you're going to do any of the essential guides, maybe start with these. But I think the essential guide, aside from warfare, that you should absolutely have is Jedi versus Sith, the essential guide to the Force. The essential atlas is pretty good too, but this one is incredible. They tried to tell this like a story. Jedi Master Tyone, it's after sacrifice is when this takes place. So Mara Jade's just been killed, and basically she's going through and she's studying this great holocron, and they have to have Jedi there with her to like supervise and everything. So she's going through it, and they make this into a story. So while it's giving you lore and, you know, what a guide does, they're also trying to tell you a story. So you could read this, you know. And I remember taking this and like reading it at a lunch break at work, and people were like, "Oh, what are you reading?" And I'm like, "The Guide to the Force." But I mean, it's like a story. So this is a great one. Again, another Ryder Wenham. Pretty much if you see Ryder Wenham's name on a Star Wars thing, 9 times out of 10, if not 100% of the time, it's going to be great. So props to you, Ryder Wenham. I really dug this. Definitely go check it out. Again, this is also very readily available. Some other things that are good. This one has some it's more of a behind the scenes, but it's called The Secrets of Shadows of the Empire. And it's a book that pretty much talks about like the creation of the Shadows of the Empire multimedia project, going into detail about the novel, creating the characters, creating the soundtrack, creating the game, creating the merch, the comic. I mean, they have like concept art in here of doing it. It is such a fascinating book. Going into that. And, you know, if you're like me, who loves Shadows of the Empire, loves that whole multimedia project, this is definitely worth your time. It is a great read, and a definitely cool behind the scenes look into the creation of this amazing story. So can't say enough good things about that. Definitely get this one if you can. Uh, the Illustrated Star Wars Universe is one I really like. Kevin J. Anderson did this, and basically going into detail and uh, tying some things in together. Like, for example, this has Hool in it, Professor Hool in it from Galaxy of Fear, ties it into all of that. And that's actually, if you read this, you will understand some plot points of Galaxy of Fear. This comes before that. So Kevin J. Anderson ties that all in. It's great. I love it. It's amazing Ralph McQuarrie cover art. Which is, Ralph McQuarrie is just an amazing artist and painter, so I love his work here. So this is great. Again, it's a little bit more of the 90s expanded universe, so it's going to be the original trilogy and pretty much all that had come up to like 1995, but still a really cool piece. It might be definitely worth your time. One that you probably could skip are any encyclopedias. This is the original Star Wars Encyclopedia. I don't have the 3-volume set. That came later, and when I did realize that it existed, it was kind of like, well, again, you have Wikipedia. So do you really need an encyclopedia? I mean, this is cool to have, and again, it's definitely nostalgic, but it could be skipped. I do like that Luke has a red lightsaber and Vader is blue, but other than that, you could definitely skip this. I don't think this is very much worth your time. Technical Journal is really good. This goes into a lot of detail about like ships and lightsabers and blasters and droids, and it's a really cool thing. Again, this one is also kind of dated. It's mostly just original trilogy stuff, so that kind of era. But Shane Johnson did it. It's a great read. It's a good guidebook. I've enjoyed it. I've flipped through this several times. So I would definitely say if you're interested in kind of the tech, Star Wars tech, and all of its, all the technology that's in that universe, this would definitely be worth picking up. A couple more here. These are kind of, oh, hello. These are kind of like, meh. You could do the Bounty Hunter's Code and Book of the Sith. There's also an Imperial Handbook and Jedi one I don't have. These are okay. It has some interesting information in here, but then it has like like comments from characters like Dengar just is like, I've seen the glyphs, they're fascinating. Like, some of it's like, oh, it's kind of cool to hear a character's thoughts, but then it's like, like the Jedi one in particular is Ahsoka and Anakin having this conversation on the sides while you're trying to read it. And it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of irritating. So they have some cool info in them, but I don't know if you can, if you think that like these annotations, like Bosk circles the word retirement and then goes into this whole annotation about whatever. So if that would distract you, if that might irritate you, maybe skip these. Again, they're cool. I've only gone through them once. I don't know when or if I'll go through these again, but they're interesting. But I don't see myself revisiting these anytime soon. So the last ones I wanted to show here that fell. This is the Essential Comics Companion. This is goes into detail, puts everything in chronological order, has an amazing artwork. I love the cover with Dark Empire Luke, Anakin, and Vader. And basically just goes through all the Dark Horse comics and gives you summaries and stuff. And it's pretty much the essential reader's companion for the comics. Again, this one is also dated. It doesn't have everything in it. This was, I think, 2006, 2007, 5 maybe. 2006 is when it says this was published. So it has some great things in it. I think it's worth to get. But again, just keep in mind, it's only going to go up to comics that have come out from 1976 or 77, 76 to 2006. So just bear that in mind. And last but not least, if you're going to get any guide in this video, or any Star Wars guide period, here's what I would say. And other people have said it too. The Star Wars Essential Reader's Companion. This is an incredible guide. I will always recommend this. Again, this is still available, but it puts all the novels, all the short stories, all the young adult stuff in order. Sometimes they'll mention the comics, like, hey, FYI, here's Dark Empire. Or, hey, FYI, here's Knights of the Republic. Put them in all in chronological order, give you a summary about each thing, give you main characters, planets visited, behind the scenes, amazing art from these stories, the different covers, everything's in chronological order. Pablo Hidalgo did this, believe it or not, and I know that he's kind of a controversial guy now in the Star Wars community, but believe it or not, he was very positive towards the EU when it was still canon, and he wrote this thing, and this is probably my favorite Star Wars guide, believe it or not. It's an incredible book, and I'll still give Pablo props for that, and I'll still say that if you're going to get any of these, I'd say start with this one, more so than the Ultimate Visuals. If you're gonna, those are good for the movies, but if you want to truly dive into the Star Wars Legends universe, start with this. This is such an incredible guide. Can maybe give you an idea of what you want to read or what you want to get into, but I can't say enough good things about it. Other people have too. If you don't have it, go get it. So basically, that's about it. I really just kind of wanted to talk more about the guides. Do I think that they're necessary? The question that we always ask, are they essential? No, they're not. They're not essential reads. I think you can get a lot out of them. I think you can get enjoyment. I think you can get entertainment. I think you can get a lot of new knowledge of the Star Wars universe. But is it going to make or break your expanded universe reading or your Legends reading, whatever you want to call it? I don't think so. But they're cool pieces. I'd say maybe when you're done or close to being done, or with your expanded universe collection, then maybe dive into the guides, or maybe do some guides here and there. But definitely, consider them. I think that there's a lot of good stuff there, especially the Reader's Companion, and I think it might be worth your time. But anyways, folks, that is all the time I have for today. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time with another episode of the Star Wars Library.